Women are talking, things are happening, all sorts of things, over the sun, under the sun, other sorts of sun. Uh,
It's just kind of like dynamite drop in there, Monty. I mean, just kind of like, nope, had an idea and now it's gone. So,
yeah. So I'm Ashley. That's Owen. That's AJ. It's time to discuss what we reacted to. What? I'm trying to think. 10 hours ago, roughly.
you
Give or
guys
take.
did.
Well, no, you did.
There's no proof of this. There is no literal proof online anywhere that I did anything for almost 20 minutes today. Just sat on my ass and ate Magic Spoon with hot cocoa on top of it, drinking a Diet Dr. Pepper at 8:30 in the morning. No, there's no proof of anything whatsoever because for some reason it won't upload. It is now at like 22%. There's nobody here. I'm by myself. My electronics are turned off. It's just doesn't work. Hopefully you'll see it someday.
It will show up somewhere. Bryce saying, as we say every year, what the fuck? Josie also says, watched Where the Spirit Lives today, a TV movie about an indigenous girl at a residential school. I think it would make a good pairing with Nickel Boys.
I don't want to hear about Nickel Boys right now, to be quite honest with you.
Well,
Yeah, you know how I try to express every year that one thing we need to always take into account when we do predictions is that every year shit just doesn't add up.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't. We'll get there. Don't worry.
I'm guessing you've got the order, Owen.
Um, yeah, I think so.
In terms
No,
of-
I don't have the order. I just have it in front of me.
Okay.
I I was trying to get everything ordered out, and I was like, I don't know the order of everything. Before we get started, I want to welcome Tim to chat. It's nice to see you. It's been a minute. Hope you're feeling well. Hope you're doing good. Hope you hear me bitch and whine about what happened this morning in just a few minutes. I got so excited. I was like, "Oh my god! I got everything in Best Picture that could possibly get nominated, all covered except for the one albatross hanging over my head right now." Nope. Oh no, you don't. I gotta wait till February 7th to make that happen at this point.
Well, that's not too far off.
But I also get Seed of the Sacred Fig the week before, so I mean that's gonna be a good double week of movies that, yeah.
So are we going in the order they were announced, or
Do you have that order, AJ? Because I don't.
I don't. I just have the Wikipedia page.
Actually, I'm kind of surprised you don't because you were live the whole time.
Yeah, but I was going in between bits on the spreadsheet, so I was looking for bits here and there. That's the annoying thing. If worst comes to the worst, I'll just get the blooming. I'll get the feed up on. I'll get the feed up on my tablet because it's already muted anyway, and get it that way. Just seeing. Josie says I also watched Molly and Max in the Future Fun Romantic Comedy. Currently, they're playing "Don't Look Back in Anger" by Oasis.
Great song.
I'm Still Here, such a surprise. I called it early in the season. I told people to watch out for it. I mean, to be fair, it was more watch out for the Brazilians because they showed up.
I do that on the regular. I don't want to have to do it during award season as well. That's for you, Tim.
And I work out if that's a shoot or whatever.
Yeah. Yep.
Answers on a
100%. Bang bang. Let's
postcard.
go.
Something in between. I do know we opened with supporting actor.
That is correct, and usually it is though too.
Yeah. And I know we finished off the first half with supporting actress as they do. So
There was something I was going to address in my video, but I decided not to. In fact, I tried to go the complete opposite direction, and it has to do with the fact of what is technically the very first movie that received a nomination this morning.
yeah.
I could have made like a big scene, but I decided to just completely no sell it. So I don't know if I should have made a big scene or I had plans to address certain disdain for one particular movie, but like I said, I guess I decided to be the better person, maybe. And it's like, you know what? I just won't react at all to any of them.
I just talked over it like it didn't exist.
I think there were
That's all I did.
I think there were a couple of times where I was talking while like picture and director started. I was talking.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, I mean, it would have been great if he was the burger.
Oh
but,
God, yes.
The burger.
That would have been amazing. Since there was somebody in our chat that actually put that idea in my head, I was like, "Ooh, that'd be a wonderful." Was that a Spencer line from last time?
Well, I mentioned it a few times that it was possible, but I always talked myself out of it because I was like, they wouldn't snub him twice now. Well, appropriately enough, my Conclave Blu-ray did arrive today. So
nice.
There's that. The Substance isn't even shipping till tomorrow, so I'm still another week away from it, but it's coming.
The artwork over here just has a giant Ray Fiennes staring at you, from what I can tell, even though it's probably not coming for another few months anyway. But yeah, serious stare. Sorry. So yeah, supporting. We had Yura Borisov for Honora, Kieran Culkin for A Real Pain, Edward Norton for A Complete Unknown, Guy Pearce for The Brutalist, and Jeremy Strong for The Apprentice. Honestly, I think the reason why The Apprentice is here is probably because of BAFTA. To some extent.
I think it's a good bet to get more visibility, even though we as a panel willed Jeremy Strong into existence.
Yeah.
100% we did. There's video proof of it.
I just love that I actually predicted him at one point, and then by the next video, I was like, "Oh, that was a mistake. Never mind." And then I never went back to him. I completely talked myself out of it.
And I might as well
I think I had it at the very end, and I just didn't go with it for my final prediction.
I might as well mention it here, so I don't forget to bring it up in however many minutes time and whatever. Out of the acting stuff, 13 out of the 20 are first timers, and out of the 20, only Brody's won one. So we're pretty much guaranteed, unless Brody wants to ruin it and win a second. 4 new acting nominees, which in turn shows you, at least the one point that I saw, is that it wasn't just a case of look for the name and tick the box. Because Denzel missed, Kidman missed, Jolie missed, all the Craig missed arguably as well. It wasn't necessarily all the big names making it in. They're actually acknowledging actual performances. Who knew?
I was surprised by. I mean, SAG still did some crazy shit, but I was also surprised how some of the things that seemed crazy at SAG actually held on, and some of them, Barbaro, still seem quite crazy. So,
and that's wearing this. So,
yeah, no Denzel, no Macklin. as various
Yeah,
sites predicted.
well, it's funny because this time around, it's like it felt like, again, this is gonna feel like a broken record. This whole show, and it's been the whole season. There's four, and there's the outlier, and you don't know who that fifth slot's gonna go to. And it's funny because in the end, me and AJ just stuck to our guns, and we both were wrong.
It is funny in retrospect when you can see somebody in Jeremy Strong, because Jeremy Strong got in SAG and BAFTA, right?
Right.
It is funny. Well, I guess it's not too bad. I was gonna say, well, he got in Globe too. So it is funny when somebody can get in everywhere, and there's still cases where they could miss. But once you've talked yourself into that, and then they still get in, it's like, oh, that was kind of dumb, wasn't it? All the signs were there. But then again, Curtis got SAG and BAFTA, so it is possible.
We'll get there in a little bit.
Kind of
So
crazy
that-
now when you look at it that Strong didn't make it in at the Spirit.
I haven't looked at that list for so long. I don't even remember who made it into anything.
Yeah, because the thing about The Apprentice at the Spirit Awards was that it made director, which was pretty wild at the time.
And then obviously Stan's performance as Trump made it in, but neither Baklova as Ivanka or Strong as Rag.
I mean, honestly, Strong is one of my absolute favorite supporting performances of the year, so I can't be upset at this at all. The only person I'm upset with is the person I don't think belongs there, but I get why they're there. That could have been a great spot for somebody else, anyone really. Somebody from Conclave would have been nice, but it was never that night. That's how it was.
You can argue they nominate him for everything, or a lot of people hated Gladiator 2. I was really pulling for that Denzel nomination to come through. I personally would have loved that, but
I think at this point the best way to describe it for me is tattered Sing Sing. Enough that Macklin became not an option when at the beginning Macklin was one of the only options. And they stuck with Domingo the whole way. So, I mean, it's like Sing Sing did decent for itself today. But the thing about it is Macklin really needed that nomination. But
Song made me think
Song's a big deal.
It made me think it was going to overperform, and that didn't really happen.
I said that about September 5 too, and I was correct about the whole circumstance with screenplay, but I didn't get editing, so nope.
Yeah, we were really convinced for September 5 in editing.
Yeah, 100%.
I haven't even seen it.
It's currently playing in my local Cineplex with a QA, actually.
I mean, it's supposed to be everywhere right now, but
right.
Yeah.
So is I'm Still Here. Anyway, continue.
Next, we had costume design, which
Right.
got nods for A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Gladiator 2, Nosferatu, and Wicked.
Happy to say I went 5 for 5 there.
I'm just gonna have to resign to this whole I don't get A Complete Unknown thing, aren't I? I mean, yeah, we're beyond that. Of course I have to.
I mean, they went about as all in on A Complete Unknown as they possibly could have. Like, but I can say the same thing about its overperforming of the 13 nominations of its predecessor. So,
yeah, I don't know. Maybe I just need to see it again. I don't know, but
I want to see it again, but I got these January movies I need to watch first. So,
yeah, this is. And what's funny is I was one of the people at the beginning where I was like kind of excited for it because everybody else was saying like, oh, it's another musical biopic. Oh, we don't need this because we have Walk Hard, that old thing. And I was the one saying, yeah, but it's Mangold. And it's like, that's going to be that. I mean, I think that could really be something.
yeah.
And it turns out it really is something to the fucking world. And I'm the one sitting here like, guys, it's a standard biopic that doesn't have a lot going on. It just completely reversed, and I didn't see that coming, to be honest. I remember shortly before the industry awards started coming out, we kind of thought A Complete Unknown was falling off, didn't we? At least a lot of us did.
I've been pretty hopeful for it for a while, but I mean, I didn't know exactly how far it would actually go. I said Mangold a long time ago, so maybe I started.
Yeah, the industry becoming obsessed with it the way they have, I never saw that coming.
Yeah, but foreseeably, even though it is getting a lot of it did get a lot of nominations. There's not many that it could really win.
I was watching one of the New Year's things on New Year's Eve, and one of the anchors or hosts or whoever said, I just saw maybe one of the greatest movies I've ever seen. And I was on the edge of my seat like, oh my God, what was that? And he said, A Complete Unknown. And my immediate thought was, well, somebody paid you to say that. There's no way anybody actually thinks that. And then the industry awards started rolling in. I don't know, I'm lost.
One thing, at least with costume, is we're pretty much guaranteed a first-time winner. Because Ariane Phillips, who did Complete Unknowns, only previously been nominated for Walk the Line, WE, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, along with a BAFTA nom for Single Man, so she's never won anything. Lizzie Crystal was last nominated for Anonymous back in 2012.
We're talking about that again this Christmas.
Yes.
Last time.
Apparently, the only other time that she got costume nodded was back at the 2012 awards. Or sorry, the 2011 awards announced in 2012. So, yeah. Janty Yates, who receives her first nomination in 20 years because the only other time she was in here, she won for Gladiator 1. Oh no, she did also get in for Napoleon, last year as well, alongside her colleague Dave Crossman on that. So he hasn't won anything yet. Linda Muir, I think it's her debut in terms of getting recognised for Nosferatu. And then Paul Tazewell, I think, got nominated for West Side Story a couple of years back. So, as I say, we're all but guaranteed somebody new to be added to the list. More than likely.
So,
yeah.
I was gonna go with what missed here. Like, so AJ went with Maria and Dune, Ashley went with Blitz, and I was 5 for 5. So
Dune's omission is pretty surprising.
Mm-hmm.
I was also going to mention that I kind of overestimated Gladiator in the text here a little bit.
We both did, actually.
Well, you just can't win because we all, I think literally anybody that does this probably underestimated Napoleon last year. Napoleon walked away with, 4 nominations? And nobody predicted that shit.
No Mufasa, no Deadpool.
No,
lots of things, actually.
Now on to makeup and hair, which they decided to actually acknowledge the hair bit, I guess. Because joining the ones that we all predicted in A Different Man, Nosferatu, Substance, and Wicked, showed up Emilia Perez.
This is where I knew I was in trouble. When this nomination came, I figured they were going to really, over-nominate Emilia Perez. And I was proven correctly pretty quick.
Would Dune's problem have been that it was maybe like they considered it basically the same makeup work from the first one? That's the only explanation I can come up with, except for their obsession with Emilia Perez.
You are correct in your second one.
There always seems to be one every year that is the hair rather than the prosthetics.
I kind of thought Wicked was taking care of that. That's what I thought.
And every year, I always say they need to split up the categories. I know we don't need more categories in the Oscars. I get that. But we need makeup, we need hair. We need to differentiate between the two because some movies have makeup but they don't have hair. Some movies have hair but no makeup. This is where Emilia Perez comes in. Or, sorry, to quote Bo and Yang a billion times this morning, Amelia Perez. Which I got real tired of hearing that pronunciation every single time. Do not care if that's the right way to say it or not.
I thought you were going to bring up how tired you were of hearing nominees to be determined.
Yeah. Like, hey, by the way, we don't know who's going up on that stage, and neither do you.
It's like when they did supporting actor for 2012, and they intentionally fucked with us by doing them out of alphabetical order in a random order. And for supporting actor, Emma Stone said he's won before after every one, the payoff being that they had all won before. I remember watching, back when I watched like the reaction videos that we do of other people, and that was like it was weird. Everybody was reacting. I was like, why does she keep saying that? It was actually driving people crazy.
Yeah.
People are fucking weird.
Yeah.
But, that's probably why I don't watch those anymore. But
yeah, neither do I actually. Brian says in chat, I wonder if that's also a SAG rule. Talking about Macklin Strong in the supporting actor spot. Costume Miss Beetlejuice, and Amelia Perez over A Complete Unknown and Gladiator 2. And makeup and hair missed Beetlejuice over A Different Man. Not sure why you got Beetlejuice over A Different Man, but you do you, Brian.
And let me just say this also. I was the one at the beginning of the season that mentioned my concerns about Macklin because he's playing himself, and I thought I had heard there was a rule against that.
Did you confirm this?
No, I still don't know. So, I don't, or like I said, maybe it's another. I don't know if it would be the Academy or another body. But I don't know if that's a thing or not. But the fact that Macklin did miss, is a mystery because there could be something like that. But there's also the fact that Sing Sing kind of underperformed as a whole over the season. Anyway, it's basically impossible to tell.
Well, technically, you also can say that because of his involvement, you can say that Macklin got nominated for song today. So technically, he didn't miss. He just didn't get his category.
Screenplay.
It definitely as well.
Was he involved in the song too?
I'm pretty sure he is.
Me.
I thought I read that. I might have read it wrong, but I believe that's right.
And we decided to randomly jump to score.
Yeah, that made no sense.
With Daniel Bloomberg for The Brutalist, Volker Bertelmann for Conclave, Clem Ducal and Camille for Amelia Perez, John Powell and Stephen Schwartz for Wicked, and Chris Bowers for The Wild Robot.
Okay, I need to say something.
Mm-hmm.
I need to open with something real quick. So number one, my method was, okay, so if I don't predict challengers, it'll suck if it doesn't get in, but at least I will have predicted that correctly, and I'll have that.
It also works the other way around.
That's not. I realize now that that's not helping.
No.
And secondly, normally I say the last thing I ever want to do when nominations come out is read comments because everybody's a fucking idiot, basically. It's a generalization, but you know what I mean.
Of course.
But I was very happy to see that if there was one snub everybody seemed pissed off about, it was this one.
Yeah, for sure.
Like everybody called this one out as bullshit. So I'm glad that my people are out there.
Oh, and it's funny you say that because you went with something else completely, and we did too. We all missed one. You didn't go with the option of the Wild Robot getting in for score. We didn't go with Wicked, but Ashley and I stuck with our guns about Challengers being probably the best score of the year, and no matter if it gets an Oscar for it or not, it's definitely in the running for top 3 scores.
It's definitely one where, and I say this again, I've said it so many times this year, but Challengers is my favorite movie of the year, and I say this, that is one movie especially where without its score, it's not that movie.
Yeah.
There's so many people that said that on social media today that I read when I was like in the middle of trying to upload this video. Needless to say, I had to do something, keep from losing my mind. And one of them was the fact that everybody said the exact same thing. Challenger's score itself is part of the movie, and the fact that it missed makes no sense.
Yeah,
Speaking of that, we'll get to cinematography later of something that shouldn't miss in that category, but did, and still did something else later on. So
yeah, like not to hate on this because I don't really remember it because I haven't rewatched it yet. But just as an example, maybe I'll regret this after a rewatch. Say you switched out the score to something like Conclave. You'd probably still get the same movie. More or less, right? Unless there's something I'm like really forgetting.
What are we switching it to? Just anything?
Something kind of similar.
Okay.
Something, or even something like relatively generic. It's probably still Conclave. Right?
That's fair.
You switch out Challengers' score, that's a different movie.
Yeah.
It's just not Challengers. So that's it's like scores are obviously extremely important, but I feel like in this particular instance, for a movie to be that literally in tune with its score, it's like taking the soundtrack out of Baby Driver.
Yeah, that's good.
That's a good comparison.
I that.
I guess the stuff of note here. Bowers could be a back-to-back winner after winning for documentary short 12 months ago for Last Repair Shop. Powell makes it in for for the second time after How to Train Your Dragon from what, 12? Well, maybe no, 15ish years ago, roughly. And the same for his partner, Stephen Schwartz, that's credited on it. Hasn't won for score since Pocahontas in '95. And hasn't won an Oscar since '98 from When You Believe from the Prince of Egypt. So that's a long one. And then obviously Berkman only won a few years back for score for All Quiet on the Western Front. So the other two first-time nominees. Oh, and now we start the short fun.
Brian missed original score with Nosferatu and Sing Sing Over Wicked and the Wild Robot. And Josie says, so happy Flo got in for international and animated. Yes, very much so.
So, yeah.
As per tradition, I totally fucked the shorts. I can't remember how you guys did.
I've got it all in front of me right now, so I'm not great.
I'm just looking at the numbers.
No, mine were terrible.
AJ had 6, I had 6, Owen had 7. So Owen technically won the short.
Now the question is, which one is
as usual, it's always the shorts that are the bloodbath for our predictions. It's why we will probably never get 100 in these predictions. Because the shorts literally try to go anywhere they can.
I've gotten perfect scores on shorts before, but it's very rare.
Case in point, with live action short, we had Aline, Anuja, I'm Not a Robot, The Last Ranger, and The Man Who Could Not Remain Silent.
So, Bowen Yang just straight up called that movie Alien, right? Is that how you say it? Because I couldn't tell if he was kidding or not.
It has to be what it's called. That only makes sense.
I was gonna say, I couldn't tell if he was kidding or not when he said they'd actually been coached on pronunciation. But okay. I mean, I know we realized that's the wordplay, but I didn't know that's how you like just said it. So that was my confusion.
Yeah, I think it's normally it's alien, not alien. You don't just say it as one thing. You try and give some indication of the fact there's a space between the A and the L, like alien.
I mean,
not
alien. I was pronouncing it lean, but I get it in retrospect now. I probably should have been saying it though.
Yeah.
I made the Spring Breakers reference for a reason, AJ.
Yeah.
No one had the Last Ranger.
Yeah, I felt like I was on track there because the first three I did have, and then they took a left turn and never came back. So I was trying to remember which of these are like out there as far as view wise. I think Alien's out there, and I think I'm Not a Robot's out there. I'm not sure about the others.
I know that live action and animated are the ones that come to theaters as part of the Best Picture marathon. So I will be seeing those sometime in next month.
I thought about In the Shadow of the Cypress, and then I went away from it. Well, except for Wander to Wander, which was the most obvious one, I completely face planted on our animated short.
Yeah, you did. You went literally 1 for 5.
Beautiful Men crossed my mind, but
Magic
I didn't go that
crossed
way.
my-
And I didn't even really consider Yuck or Magic Candies.
Magic Candies was my last elimination because I chose the Hertzfeld nomination for me instead. And I went with like history instead of like my head. Sometimes that's not a good thing to do, especially when it comes to the short categories. I always Yuck in the mind, and I figured that was going to happen. Wonder to Wonder was going to be a thing given circumstances. I thought In the Shadow of the Cypress was a smart move for me to go with this year. Maybe Elephants, question mark? Not so much.
If I think about it, next year, I'm probably going to intentionally just go random on the shorts and see how better or worse. Because obviously thinking about it doesn't help.
No.
It's like literally get a dartboard, put the whole short list up there, and just start throwing.
Josie says I was doing a word search where the theme was rodents and one of the words was capybara. Could that be a sign of Flo could win? I'd like that. I'd love if Flo beat the Wild Robot this season completely. That'd be amazing.
Well, it's interesting because technically they both overperformed.
Yeah.
With Flo getting an international, but the Wild Robot getting more categories.
Well, Flo got everything it possibly could have, and the Wild Robot got one more than it probably should have. But the thing about it is that Wild Robot missed Song, which a lot of people thought was certainty.
Oh yeah, we haven't mentioned. Well, I guess that'll come up when we get to the category. The new development about Song.
I said it during the video that does not exist right now that I'm a little butthurt that I don't get to see the performances, but I guess now I understand why.
Right. Yeah, here's the thing. Is it was like, oh man, seeing Reznor and Ross live, that'd be awesome. Seeing Kneecap live, that'd be awesome.
Yep.
And then it's almost like they knew the nominations and they were like, you know what, we can cut this. It's like nobody's gonna be into this.
What, Slumdog versus Wally again, all over again?
I mean, another Elton John performance wouldn't have been bad, but
maybe that's why. If he's not capable of doing it.
Oh.
And it's like, oh, you could really get something out of doing the big Zoe number and Emilia Perez, and it's like, yeah, but everybody hates Emilia Perez except for us. Maybe we shouldn't.
Yeah.
Hey, just as long as we get a wicked performance, that's all that matters.
The amount of stuff that I've now seen from Mexican people that feel the highest form of disrespect by that film, it's like, yeah, maybe that's for the better. Sorry, not Brazil, Mexican. Saying that Emilia Perez doesn't treat it with the right sincerity.
So many people, so much stuff up. It's like there is this group of people who are voting for the Oscars, and then there's this huge group of people that don't vote for the Oscars, and those are the ones that go on social media. And those ones on social media just keep saying the same thing over and over again. We hate Emilia Perez. It does not deserve to be here in any way, shape, or form.
I mean, I get the pain that comes with screaming at the top of your lungs that something doesn't deserve to be here for a very specific reason, and deaf.
You are 100% seen, good sir.
So yeah.
Hold on, chat.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to stay on top of this so we don't go 4 hours. Animated short, Brian missed the bear and me over in Shadow of the Cypress and Magic Candies. Josie asks, if Odiard was to do another musical, would you rather it be in outer space, underwater, or a circus?
Let's go with space.
Okay.
So
Good,
yeah,
Ashley.
just the TLDR Alien is about a young couple dealing with immigration, so that's not going to be enjoyable for Owen.
Yeah. I'd forgotten. Once again, I know you shouldn't think too much about it because it's basically random. A bear named Wojtek missing actually is kind of surprising.
It's the one I kept seeing the most for when I was doing my beginning research for this category, and it's the one I shied away from for some reason.
Yeah, next year is definitely not even thinking about it, just saying 5 random ones.
Yeah, looking at that list, it's not going to be a fun time, mostly for Owen on the live action shorts. Bar I'm Not a Robot, because yes,
that's the only one I'm looking for.
The one where it's like failing the captures.
Yes.
Is the person a robot? At the same time, though, at least according to Wikipedia, I'm Not a Robot brought to us by Trent. So maybe that's why Owen went for it. I don't think it's the same Trent, but the fact it's just Trent with no other explanation.
I mean, if there was a question mark at the end of it, possibly, but not so much.
So yeah, animated short, beautiful men in the shadow of Cypress, Magic Candies, Wonder to Wonder, and Yuck, which of course led to a Charlie XCX reference.
We also didn't mention that I was pleasantly surprised when they walked out, because wasn't this supposed to be a Zoom thing initially?
I mean, it was supposed to be, from what I heard, it was like the presentation was going to be made, but there was going to be no people from the press. Which I think probably shows you that it was not the press either, because there was no sort of really shocks or whoops or anything like that. It was just, I think people from the Academy told, applause, please.
Yeah, I was surprised when I saw the whole setup and when they walked out, because I was expecting something totally informal from what we'd heard.
I mean, to some extent it was, because it wasn't the press, I think, losing their shit at like certain things, making it in or not making it in. It was just polite applause for everybody. In all honesty. And then, of course, not let this. Wait, what?
What we needed was another instance, like was it the 97 nominees being announced, and there was the year Private Parts came out, and somebody from Howard Stern's show was in the back of the room screaming, "Where the fuck is Howard Stern?"
That's amazing.
So I was thinking, like, so they did the other one, and like, nope, we jumped to adapted screenplay.
Does that make sense?
Where we have a complete unknown from Mangold and Cox, Strawn with Conclave, Odiard with Amelia Perez, Romel Ross and Jocelyn Barnes for Nickel Boys, and Quedar and Bentley, at least with the screenplay, for Sing Sing.
So, you got me on this Dune bandwagon for getting Villeneuve into screenplay, and it made sense in my head. And I was trying to discount Romel Ross completely because
who was you on that?
You were trying to get me. You sold me on Dune being a potential screenplay nominee, even though you didn't go with it.
I don't remember this conversation.
Maybe it's
Are you sure? Like WGA didn't talk you into it?
No, because WGA doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
It's shoot pointless. Like almost everything is ineligible at WGA.
Dude, I never went for the first one. I was surprised
I
when
think
that
it was a
actually happened.
roundabout conversation, not exactly specifically what you said. It's just about the fact that Dune could be a contender in things that I wouldn't necessarily contend it for, like director. But there were worse options, obviously. Um, but yeah, I was on this Ramel Ross train for a while, and then I jumped off of it because I saw the movie, and it in my head it didn't make any sense because I was thinking like Owen and not like the public that was actually voting, which is a mistake during award season, like greatly. Or I probably would have gone with this. Ashley's the only one of us that did go with Ramel Ross here. But I'm very happy the Sing Sing got in here because it badly needed it.
Keep in mind, if Nickel Boys hadn't have been predicted by me, I would have gone Sing Sing. It was a case of, like I said in my video, I should have done an Owen and gone, why not both? Because I thought, well, they'd only go for one black script.
I literally only just remembered that I went with Wicked. This whole time I've been thinking I went Nickel, because remember I made my change live. I switched Nickel Boys out for Wicked.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you did.
Oh, that's fucking infuriating.
And in retrospect, now hindsight being 2020, it makes more sense for Wicked to be the answer instead of Nickel Boys, not both.
Because regardless, screenplay was very uneventful.
Yeah, especially adapted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because transitioning over to original, we had Anora written by nominees to be determined. Bradley Corbet and Mona Fastfall for Brutalist, Jesse Eisenberg for A Real Pain, Moritz Binder and Tim Fehlbaum for September 5, and Coralie Farge for the Substance.
Can we give a round of applause for the writers of those last 4 movies for actually writing original screenplays?
Yeah,
we love to see it.
I just felt, considering how much we had nominees to be determined for Best Picture, I felt that is also where it should be appropriate.
While we're on this, let me tell you guys what I was going to do. My original plan, I was just fucking drained by the time nominations actually came out. I was going to do a whole setup where I had one sign behind me that said, "Hi, Sean, remember me? I wrote Strawberry, you're welcome." The second sign was going to say, "Hey, Sean, congratulations to both of us." And the third sign was going to say, "Writers never upload to the blacklist." And I was like, that's a lot of work. I'm just going to it's going to happen regardless.
Dude,
Go ahead.
If I would have been in town at that point, I would have 1,000,000% did that for you. We would have been in the same room for this, and I would have made sure you did that.
Yeah, he went from 0 Oscar nominations to 4 in the span of this morning.
As Bryce says,
he's still
chat,
he is the Francis McDormand of script thieves.
Bryce says maybe Anora should have been an adapted screenplay by Sean Baker, story by AJ.
Yeah, I mean, Roger Avery got an Oscar for Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, it's true. But yeah, once again, clap it up for September 5 being in this lineup.
I mean, it's based on real events, but they didn't write something that somebody else had already written, so that's good for them. I'm happy for them.
And then the final bit of the first half, supporting actress.
What happened here?
Well,
Seriously.
okay. What happened here? I don't know, Mr. A Complete Unknown Fan. You tell me what happened here.
Oh shit!
Come on. No. I'm going to still state that the undeserving performance in this lineup is what bumped Margaret Qualley out of here. The one I don't like is what bumped Margaret Qualley out of here. The reason Jamie Lee Curtis isn't in here is because of Monica Bavaro.
Dude, I really thought Curtis had it.
I did too. I think
Like,
everybody was convinced of it. Well, that was paying
The
attention.
fact that as I've got in some of my notes, which we'll get to for sort of the the facts and figures from the stuff, the last actress to do SAG and Oscar was Ruby Dee back for American Gangster in 07.
We've used Ruby Dee as an argument many times. Hi, Isabella Rossellini. Welcome to the lineup.
Yeah, and Eric Anderson, who's collated them together, has sort of rightfully probably said maybe the delays to the nominations period coinciding with the guilds giving her a nod might have given her that extra push to get her in as maybe the 4 or the 5 or whatever.
She definitely would have been the 5th. I would have thought.
I don't know. Just this. I'm a broken record at this point. The Academy and the industry being the Complete Unknown Fan Club is. I just don't understand this.
After the rocky nature of how everything seemed to be going for Felicity Jones, though, her making it in, I guess, is good to see. And then also the fact that Rossellini pretty much dedicated it to Lynch in her video, reacting to the stuff. It's just like, yes, I approve.
I'm glad we stuck to our guns about Rossellini because it seemed like she was going to get taken out and she was never in danger at all.
I was just about to say that. I was like, for some reason, even though the screen time is so fucking short and she missed SAG and everything, it's like I just never thought she would be snubbed. I just knew this one was a solidified one.
Well, speaking of precursors, when they started to really fawn over Amelia Perez even more so than I thought they were going to, there was a severe thought in my mind that Gomez was going to get in here. And there was going to be 2 doubles for Amelia Perez on the night. That didn't happen, but it could have.
Yeah, I am curious how close she was because of the Amelia Perez obsession.
Yeah. But yeah,
do we know if he's been in a Best Picture winner now? Do we know if Eugenio Derbez is an Oscar voter or not?
That's funny. No,
I know he took it back, but we know what his true feelings are.
Someone asked Ariana Grande what's more important, an Oscar or a Grammy, and she's like, "Oh, I can't answer that." Smart move, Ari. Smart move. No Danielle Deadweiler here. Piano lesson got completely shut out.
Yeah.
I mean.
Oh, so can we go back to my whole thing about SAG only choosing top of the alphabet names? Because a lot of them did not come back.
Yeah.
Doesn't explain fucking Barbara, but explains some of the others. But like I said, I feel bad about that because I really, really love The Last Showgirl. And it actually deserved them.
Which is still available, at least for the time being, in a Cineplex, hopefully near you right now, if you want to check it out before it presumably leaves this week.
So then the second half began with song.
Because this order makes total sense.
Well, because they went on the alphabetical order of the song itself. We had El Mal from Amelia Perez, The Journey from insert joke here,
Yes.
I know it's backwards, people watching on YouTube, but you can probably, all I need to say is that, because I might as well mention it here before I forget again. That's Diane's 8th nomination in a row.
I mean it. I mean, it does have to be a running joke at this point with voters, right? That's the only explanation.
That makes sense.
She just makes it in all the time.
Because it's always like the most forgettable song from the most random movie, too. Like, it has to be just a running joke with voters at this point.
We're gonna live in this world somewhere down the line. Like Markiplier is gonna do a movie and Diane Warren's gonna do the song for it, and it's gonna get Oscar nominated because of this.
I don't know what that means.
And we have Like a Bird from Sing Sing.
Heck yeah, that was awesome. I'm so happy that's there.
I don't remember the song. Was it in the middle of the movie or was it a credits thing?
I believe it's in the middle of the movie. I have not. Don't forget, I have not seen Sing Sing since it first came out.
I saw Sing Sing in December. I feel like it's been as long as since it came out that I saw it.
What was it?
Credits.
September when it came out?
Credits.
Credit music. Okay.
I want to say August was maybe around the time it came out, actually.
Oh yeah, it was right before I went away for Horror Nights. Okay, that makes sense.
I say don't quote me on that, but that's what I feel like it was.
I don't recall it being during Horror Nights. I know it was before, so I don't remember how close it was. It was probably sometime in August.
Since I've got the Oscar nominations pulled up on Wikipedia, I can literally just click on Sing Sing's name right now and find out. Sing Sing came out. Holy shit! July 12th.
Good lord.
Okay. And it premiered at TIFF the previous year.
So Brian says supporting actress missed Curtis and Gomez over Barbaro and Jones. Original song 5 for 5. Surprisingly, can't wait to see what AJ's thoughts on the 6 888 soon.
Find out soon.
And then the other one, Mi Camino from Amelia Perez, and Never Too Late from Elton John's documentary.
That might be potentially Elton's last nomination, like in general for awards. So I see that being a good thing, honestly, because he's been nominated for Best Original Song from the Oscars for a couple of times. Like obviously, one of the best songs of all time from The Lion King.
I also really, I fondly remember, honestly, Rocket Man just went in one ear and out the other to me.
I never saw it.
But
I dug it.
I loved how much you could tell he really appreciated his win that year.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that Bernie Taupin was with him.
Oh, yeah.
Was a pretty beautiful moment. Even though, like I said, I don't even fucking remember that song.
I was going to say whether he was EGOT, but it was back at the Emmys a couple of years back. The farewell from Dodger Stadium that actually got him the EGOT, because obviously he already had two Oscars, handful of Grammys as well, and then the Tony for Aida back in like 20-something years ago.
So AJ, of course, went with Sick in the Head, which would have been amazing if that would have happened. But he got 4 for 5 otherwise, and Ashley and I went with Compress Repress, and nope.
Yeah, because you usually think about what's going to make the most, like, exciting show-stopping live performance, but it was clear that wasn't on their brains this time.
And no Wild Robot in song after it seemed like it was like one of the front runners for the longest time. If you believed anything anybody was saying.
I guess that means we have an easy winner here, which means people are not going to get their wish, and Amelia Perez is going to leave with something. Even though I think those people seem to be ignoring that Zoe's probably comfortable right now. I don't see any
competition for Zoe at this point, unless somebody comes up and decides they want to actually get involved.
to documentary feature, where we have Black Box Diaries, No Other Land, Porcelain War, Soundtrack to a Coup d'etat, and Sugarcane. As I mentioned in my video, that was going to bring up to you guys, the TV listings for the week starting the 1st of February, or basically the stuff for the following week starting the Saturday, show up the previous Wednesday. So yesterday, I was informed that Storyville, the documentary strand that shows, documentaries, both award stuff and not award stuff, announced that they were showing Black Box Diaries in about a week and a half. So I was immediately like, so I should have put that in my predictions then, and then lo and behold, it makes it in.
I have a confession to make about documentary and really international as well, prediction-wise.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I didn't go Dahomey for either one, which I obviously did not regret, prediction-wise. And the reason I didn't go for it was my only thought was they're not going to make it easy enough that they nominate a movie that's only an hour long. That would be too easy. It's like, what, an hour and 8 minutes or something? Unless I saw something that was like an extreme typo.
Yeah, I've seen those shorts before.
Yeah, this says an hour and 8 minutes for Dahomey. My thought was just like, they like their long shit too much.
Speaking of that, we all three missed on Daughters here, which seems to be the one that everybody was talking about, and the one that missed, like, that always does every single year when it comes to documentary.
Yeah, I felt pretty confident. I mean, if there was going to be a massive snub, it would have been No Other Land, probably.
Yeah.
No Other Land and Porcelain War, but surprisingly, they actually are here. So, well, not surprisingly, but also kind of surprisingly, given what this category does.
Yeah.
To some extent, Black Box Diaries, I don't know whether that also had a kind of momentum with it, because obviously the plot around that is the director herself being sexually assaulted by somebody that was part of the Tokyo broadcasting system. But meanwhile, at the same time as all this is happening, a major face of Fuji Television in Japan has come under scrutiny of sexual assault allegations of his own as well. So it's weird that we get sort of situations sort of repeating itself to some extent in around the same time. Then to documentary short, where we had Death by Numbers, I Am Ready Warden, Incident, Instruments of a Beating Heart, and The Only Girl in the Orchestra.
If I had to guess which one I would actually get right besides I Am Ready Warden, my first choice would not have been The Only Girl in the Orchestra.
No, not at all.
The fact that all three of us went for Once Upon a Time in Ukraine and Michaela's Voice, because they were showing up in a lot of people's lists, and neither made it in. But of course we did, whether I should have looked into it more and realised that the fact that Death by Numbers is about a shooting survivor confronting their assailant, it feels like something that, considering the issues with gun control and whatever in the US, it's something that probably the Academy would try and go for.
Something I'm going to be watching in a dark, warm theater next month.
But yeah, next we jump
First Brian's documentary feature Miss Dahomey and Daughters Ever Porcelain War and soundtrack to Coup d'etat. And documentary short Miss Chasing Rue Over Instruments Ever Beating Heart. And he says, I only missed 4 in the shorts, all in general.
What's your secret, Brian?
Play the lottery, Brian. You might want to sometime soon.
Who do you know, Brian?
Tell us now. Tell us your ways.
So,
show us your ways.
I was going to say international feature went boring, and then I forgot literally what the director said at the Golden Globes. In that this is the first time that Latvia has been acknowledged for any sort of major film stuff, and I was like, well,
it belongs
there
here.
There was my new country. It's just I forgot it was in Europe. So.
Exactly what I said on the show last night.
Yeah. So the 5, I'm not going to do it in the Wikipedia order. I'm going to do it in the order that they revealed it. So from Brazil we have I'm Still Here. From Denmark, The Girl with the Needle. From France, Amelia Perez. From Germany, The Seed of a Sacred Fig. And from Latvia, Flow.
I am sad there's no Kneecap here. It would have been nice to see it and get some recognition at the Oscars.
So, if I had gone with my Flea observation,
you would have had 5 for 5.
Mm-hmm. Then we'll get the boring one out the way. Animated feature was Flow, Inside Out 2, Memoir of a Snail, Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Foul, and The Wild Robot.
Guys, I was floored with shock when they said those 5. I mean, I was
Part
stunned.
of me thought, to be honest, part of me did actually think that somebody was going to pay a load of bloody hush money, and Moana 2 was just somehow going to make it in because reasons.
No.
But thank God.
And once again, Wallace and Gromit's the only thing keeping me from having all 5 of these theatrically.
If Memoir of a Snail had been the one that fell, it was either going to be Moana 2 or a random one nobody's heard of, or very few have heard of. I'm really glad after 2017, when we had the Boss Baby and Ferdinand, I'm really glad the Moana 2 thing didn't happen, because that would have been round 2 of that year.
Interestingly, taking into account the on-demand viewing that programs have over here, Wallace and Gromit is now the most watched thing that was broadcast on Christmas Day, overtaking the few, however many million difference there was between the live watching of the Gavin and Stacey finale to, I think it was like 14-ish million, and then it was 10 million roughly for Wallace and Gromit, but Wallace and Gromit's overtaken it. They're both about 20 million and whatever, so but yeah, all is right with the world, I think.
Brian said it's just research and a guess.
Mm-hmm.
That's his thought process. First up, did get scared for a bit when they said I'm Still Here instead of Amelia Perez first. Thought they'd snubbed it. That would have been nice. Missed How to Make Millions Before Grandma Dies and Kneecap Over Flow and The Girl with the Needle. And, of course, 5 for 5 like almost all of us got.
Then,
Thank you, Academy, for giving more love to animation again with Wild Robot getting 3, Flow getting the double. You finally learned, Janet Yang. Accurate.
So, production design. The nominees are The Brutalist, Conclave, Doom Part 2, Nosferatu, and Wicked.
My 5.
Mm-hmm.
Ashley's 5. We talked about AJ with the Gladiator thing at the beginning of the show, so there's no reason to elaborate on that one.
So it was Nosferatu that I snubbed?
That is correct.
There were 2 where it was my outside choice.
Yeah.
And it got in both of those, because I think the other one was costumes.
Then we went to editing. As we get on to, the remaining the remaining 10, or what's left of the 10 to cover. So for editing, we have Anora, The Brutalist, Conclave, Amelia Perez, and Wicked.
When Dune missed this and makeup, I was starting to worry about it getting a picture slot, honestly.
I'd say I don't necessarily understand how it still did, but then I look at something else that did that doesn't make any sense either. It makes even less sense, and I understand.
To me, to some extent, the only sort of definitive one that was in here was Amelia Perez, because it was basically challenges. A lot of the bits, certainly in at least the El Mao musical bit, is very sort of hard cuts, getting the things sort of editing it there sort of thing. So that's sort of the one that felt right there. Wicked, I'm kind of surprised about. That it's, more of a picture that it is.
Proves once again how much they really love Wicked.
So I had Wicked. Did I end up taking it out?
That would be correct.
Yeah, that's awesome. Because I didn't have Wicked, and I don't think I had The Brutalist either.
No, none of us had The Brutalist.
Then to sound, we jump out of the top 10.
Because that makes sense.
We have Complete Unknown, Dune Part 2, Amelia Perez, Wicked, and The Wild Robot. Holy crap, they went inspired a little bit. I don't think any of it, well, none of us had Wild Robot. It was literally a case of...
I do think it's funny that on the sound category, we said all the nominees, and then we just went silent for a second.
Yeah. I mean,
that's fair.
It sort of was a pleasant surprise. I mean, I guess it sort of was a blockbuster thing, because it obviously was a big animated... I mean, it was DreamWorks and Universal's big sort of push, arguably. Even though DreamWorks and Universal still Kung Fu Panda, right? Because I always forget where the rights went with that.
Yeah.
Like, it's weird that, Shrek went from Disney to Paramount, and then it's going to be Universal. That, when they re-release that box set, I think they don't have, because the rights got sold off, it's not going to be a problem when they do the Shrek 5 movie box set when it comes out. But I think as well it was weird, because when they re-showed Shrek over Christmas over here, it was listed as a DreamWorks Universal thing, and I'm like, no, it wasn't. They've even reworked the credits. Kind of ridiculous.
Brian says production design 5 for 5, editing missed Dune for some unknown reason, and September 5 over Brutalist and Wicked. Dune Part 2 did go the same way Two Towers did, even though that did get in for editing. Miss Gladiator 2 and sound over Wild Robot, and Wild Robot is the most nominated animated film for DreamWorks.
And then I forgot, we've also got this one. The semi-craziness of visual effects. Better Man, Dune, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and Wicked, joined by Alien Romulus.
No one went Alien here.
Like I was saying, I basically would have gone for it if it wasn't for the Ian Holm controversy, because everything else in it looks amazing.
I'm guessing when it got round to the for your consideration, screeners that they put out, I'm guessing that's where they fixed it. Probably. Otherwise, I don't think that would have happened. Probably.
I'm trying to put my finger on why it's both surprising and unsurprising that Mufasa missed. I don't think what people thought of the movie, I don't think has anything to do with this,
Not
because
a bit.
shit movies have gotten into visual effects plenty of times.
Oh yeah,
And
for sure.
and by the way, I say shit movies as a general thing because we never really talked about this. I was actually fine with Mufasa. I didn't really have beef with it, to be honest with you.
I don't hate it, but it's not one of my favorites.
And like everybody was saying they were so bored with it was kind of the main thing. And it's like I kind of was. I mean, there was nothing particularly memorable about it, but I was never like mad at it. I was like,
I was mad at
fine.
it.
I'm fine with this.
I never
Like,
said I never said I was mad at it.
like the rest of the world seems to be.
Sometimes it's a generalization to me as well. Sometimes when we do these shows, so and I understand that because
I was perfectly comfortable watching that movie. People were so mad. I don't I don't know.
What else we got in chat before Ashley moves on? Oh yeah, visual effects. Brian missed Gladiator 2 over Better Man. Yeah, Better Man belongs here. It gets way too much hate. Paramount said today that they are pulling the box office from the movie moving forward. Like you're not gonna be able to know what their box office is moving forward.
It's really weird because I've heard negativity directed at Better Man. I've heard a lot
It's so
of positivity.
good. And honestly, I mean, I was a Robbie Williams guy myself too, and I was watching the movie smiling from ear to ear, and also crying my eyes out at the very end. But the thing is, it's just like it's not something everybody's gonna get into.
I mean, just based on the concept, it seems like a certain kind of taste is needed.
Yeah, there was people that when we did the secret screening last time, there were a couple that walked out of it, and I was like, "How did you not know this was going to be the movie?" Because I knew, I figured out like immediately it's going to be the movie.
I mean, like when people like walked out of screenings and canceled screenings for Queer.
Yeah.
What did you think the movie was?
That's like if Secret Movie would have ended up being Baby Girl when everybody thought it was going to be R, and they pivoted at the last minute. Oh no, it's PG-13. Sorry, it's a fire inside. Enjoy yourself. And I'm like, yes, I will enjoy myself. Very underrated movie.
Them for cinematography, we have Lowell Crawley for The Brutalist,
Okay.
Greg Fraser for Doom Part 2, Paul Guillaume for Amelia Perez, Ed Lachman for Maria, and Jarin Blaschke for Nosferatu.
Okay, here's my question. I think I can probably say this now, unless I'm mistaken, because AJ has watched stuff I'm not completely aware of. I think I'm the only one on this panel that's seen Nickel Boys.
Yeah.
AJ? Okay, so I want to make sure. I didn't know if you've seen it between now and then.
Do you remember what I was saying about things not adding up?
See, here's the thing. This is what I'm going to go into because your things not adding up thing is going to play into exactly what I'm about to say.
Okay, so go back in time and tell me. Actually, pretend that one of us was saying, I think Nickel Boys gets nominated for Best Picture, but not cinematography, which is like the only aspect people are even fucking talking about with Nickel Boys.
The only great aspect of the movie.
We would have cocked our heads at that person and said, really, are you sure you want to go with that?
Right.
Because that doesn't add up. But that's the thing is, every fucking year, we come across something that makes us say, oh, wow, that just doesn't add up.
I said this. I think I said this in the video that someday will see the light of day. I wasn't into Nickel Boys at all. Not really. I tried. And I wasn't into Nosferatu either, as I've mentioned on here a time or two. But the two things those movies had going for them above anything else is cinematography. And I'm like, Nosferatu's got to get in here. Nosferatu gets in. I was like, all right, fine. And then I'm like, well, the Brutalist, that makes perfect sense. And Dune, that makes perfect sense. And the Maria thing, I thought it was going to happen. And then I said out loud, I was like, wait a minute, maybe Angelina's going to get in now. That's what I was thinking. Because the reason I went with Angelina in the first place in the final video was because I thought a below-the-line tech category would get that nomination for Maria to equal out to a nomination for Jolie. That was my thought process. But then I look at cinematography, I'm like, wait a minute, they didn't mention Nickel Boys. This is like literally the only thing this movie has going for it. If this like movie looks incredible, this movie is done and shot in such an incredible way that this has to be here. Now, I can't say anything about Emilia Perez at all. The only thing I have seen from this movie, the only thing, are little clips here and there, and I can't say it's from the award show because I slept through that thing, and I've told you guys I did. I've not seen a trailer for it because obviously they don't put trailers for movies that are streaming. And all I know about it is what everybody else is saying. So I have no frame of reference from Emilia Perez. That being said, there's no way that Nickel Boys doesn't belong here over Emilia Perez.
I'm just going to say this.
Go ahead.
People can say what they will about Emilia Perez, and their feelings are valid. This is one I'm not mad at. This one makes sense to me.
I can't say that because I have no frame of reference. But how in the hell is Nickel Boys not here?
I feel like it's Maria's the reason it's not here.
But why would you? But okay, sight unseen with Maria, and would Maria be over here over Nickel Boys otherwise?
Having seen Maria, I don't know. I don't really. I mean, this isn't like an El Conde situation where it's like, oh, I get it immediately. I get why it's here.
Very happy with that surprise nomination last year. Thank you.
I don't know. Really, nothing about Maria stands out except the lead performance, which is, once again, you tell me Maria gets one Oscar nomination, and it's like, oh, I know what that one is. Wait, what is it? Cinematography? Oh. Contrary to the fight that Parsnip was trying to pick with me, I prefaced Best Actress many times and quite loudly by saying, just so we're aware, before I predict Best Actress, I don't fucking know and nobody else does either.
Yeah.
I don't know if he missed that part or what, but yeah. That, like I said, if you were to tell me Maria got one Oscar nomination, cinematography would surprise me, as it has.
The weird thing is I went with it as my caveat to why I would go with Jolie later.
Yeah, because it made the Guild, but number one, its Guild inclusion was kind of surprising. Number two, the Guild had 7 slots.
Yeah. And how's Conclave not here? I guess it's just a numbers game. It's the only thing that makes any sense here. You only can go with 5. Yeah. You have to pick 5. And if you already doomed Maria to be the reason why Nickel Boys didn't get in, Conclave was just collateral damage.
Well, you could say it's crowded because the Brutalist, Dune, Emilia Perez, and Nosferatu all make perfect sense to me here.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say anything about Emilia Perez, but I can say I understand for the other 3. I'll take your word for it.
So even as somebody that's not a fan of Dune, you can tell me that Dune should be here.
I liked the second Dune. It got me to like the first one when I saw the first one again. Remember, I only got a good theatrical view where I stayed with the whole thing. I was able to get. I dug the second movie when it came out. I'm not going to fawn over it, but I mean, I get why it's here.
I'll fawn over it enough for the both of us. It's fine. It'll balance out.
And I'm not gonna. And I'm not. Apparently, I'm not a Robert Eggers guy. So it's like Nosferatu, like, passed me by, unlike the entire world. So I get it. It's fine.
I mean, I wish I loved Nosferatu more than I did, but I could still call myself a fan of it.
can't. That mustache, man. I'm sorry. I can't let that go. I just can't. And I'm not the only one.
So then,
Brian missed Complete Unknown and Conclave over Amelia Perez and Maria for cinematography.
Then Best Actor. We have Brody for Brutalist, Chalamet for A Complete Unknown, Domingo for Sing Sing, Ray Fiennes for Conclave, and Sebastian Stan for The Apprentice.
You know it.
It's funny how quickly it fell into place.
Oh my God, tell me about it.
Because it's like, I think you even see it in my reaction video where it's like, is it Daniel Craig? Is it Daniel Craig? It's not Daniel Craig, it's Sebastian Stan. The end. Jeremy Strong is here. It's Sebastian Stan. The end.
Timingly enough, it was a great day for The Apprentice. But once Craig was out, that was really no other option, unless they really wanted to go inspired and go with Grant. It wasn't an impossibility.
That would have been a lot of fun if they did that. I'm actually, like, in retrospect, I'm, like, surprised that Domingo held on.
I'm very happy that Domingo held on the whole time. He was the only constant from Sing Sing from day one. Which is crazy to think.
Yeah, because even Sing Sing getting in screenplay feels like it barely is there.
It's probably, I'd say, what, top 15 for picture right now?
Surely.
I'd say 13 maybe.
Yeah, because I would at least like to believe A Real Pain was 11.
That makes sense.
I'm really sad about A Real Pain missing picture, honestly.
Real Pain, September 5, and Sing Sing.
Then to actress, we have Symphony Erivo for Wicked, Carla Sofia Gascon for Amelia Perez, Mikey Madison for Honora, Demi Moore for The Substance, and Fernanda Torres for I'm Still Here.
I love that my prediction was that Gascon. Remember when I predicted that Robbie and Gerwig wouldn't make it for Barbie and that would cause controversy, and that's exactly. I was basically prepping for that with Gascon. And it's kind of funny that we now don't have the controversy that they snubbed the only trans person in the trans movie. Yeah, but it's still controversial because everybody hates the movie. So
at the same time, the press are spinning it as to Hollywood showing solidarity to executive orders that got signed by the current president that seems to, go against that sort of thing. Even though the voting wouldn't have really come.
I hate the fact that politics has to play a role in this at all.
I love the reaction that I've been hearing to Amelia Perez a lot, which is people were saying that if you had to back a movie with trans themes, I Saw the TV Glow exists.
Oh my God, yes.
And I Saw the TV Glow is significantly more impactful than most of the movies that came out this year.
That's fair.
I mean, for all we know, Feathers McGraw is trans. I don't know.
But yeah, it's funny this Torres thing started, and it's like, all right, sure, whatever, this is going to be a one and done, it's all over. And then it's like, then it continued, and it's like, well, this is happening. But I wanted to believe that it wasn't going to for some reason. I really got hooked on Angelina getting that last spot. Because I was convinced Anderson was getting in. But then when Curtis missed, I was like, after all, if Curtis was the one that was more of a certainty of the two performances the last Showgirl to get in, if Curtis didn't get in, that means there's no way Anderson gets in now. And I said that out loud, too. And I was like, well, what happens if they nominate Anderson instead of Curtis? And like, oh.
It's a shame.
But nope. This is sometimes the bottom falls out
It's a
too.
shame for Anderson that this year was as packed as it was, because in any other year, it would have been so easy for her to get in here.
Oh God, for sure.
But this was insane.
Something I didn't
I-
realize either, with the "I'm still here" thing. You know how the whole thing is, now Torres and her mum join what Liza Minnelli and Judy Garland as the only sort of mother-daughter combo that have both been nominated for lead actress. Turns out,
lead.
I'm Still Here has Torres as the younger version of the lawyer, Eunice Paiva, and her mum plays the older version of her. So that actually makes sense.
Yeah, I was gonna say Diane Ladd and Laura Dern until you said leading specifically.
Yeah.
But above all that, whatever. The fact remains, Demi Moore is an Oscar nominee and a very good potential winner at this point.
Yeah, it's one good thing that Demi Moore's an Oscar nominee now. It's another on another level good thing that it's for this.
Yeah.
And for a movie like this to have done as well as it did, still would have loved an editing nomination for it.
I love quality getting in.
Yeah. Like it would have been great if it overperformed, but you could say it performed. Like it
It
made
got
its
5.
presence known.
It got the 5 legitimately that it seemingly was supposed to get.
There was, as soon as I saw Mangold's name, because my mind gets frantic and I'm not thinking about the order when I'm watching them most of the time, unless
Same.
it's something really given, like actor was easy to see where the gaps were. When I heard Mangold's name, my first thought was they snubbed Coralie, and I'm fucking pissed. And then they said her, and I was elated, and then I was trying to remember, like, oh fuck, who's not here then? And it, fucking Berger, guys,
Again.
what did he do to you?
Again.
Seriously.
Yeah. To clarify, the list of the 5 directors is Sean Baker for Honora, Bradley Corbet for Brutalist, James Mangold for Complete Unknown, Jack Audiard for Amelia Perez, and Coralie Farge for The Substance.
Hey, Coralie got in. That's all that matters about
director.
Honestly, that is literally all that matters. Coralie is in, and it's
and Corbet is going to make a very respectable winner.
Yes.
So
I don't love The Brutalist, but if there has to be a winner in this lineup and it's not who I want it to be, yeah, 100%.
And just how fucking hard he worked on this movie, we have to admit. Like, there's no pushback for him.
No.
But yeah, Coralie being here is kind of the star of the category.
And then
I believe
Best Picture to be determined.
I believe it's the only 9th horror movie that's been nominated for Best Picture.
Somewhere, hang on, I think I've got that in my stuff. I'll double check, but yeah. So
what counts as horror can be a blurry line for some people.
For sure. And I mean, for the fact that The Substance, which for all intents and purposes, the people that I run with, obviously, would call it more of a horror movie. And with like Alien Romulus, which technically speaking would be considered a horror movie. It was pretty good day for horror today.
I kind of feel that might be what actually screws over Presents this week. Because the way they're sort of advertising it and showing it makes it look like it's a horror. And from everybody that's seen it, they've said it isn't a horror. So
it's a horror movie from a perspective.
Given that it's Soderbergh, I'm not at all surprised to hear that.
Yeah. Well, to be
I
fair, I
will-
think it's more whoever the hell is doing the bloody trailer cutting. They're trying
I
to make
will.
it look more scary than possibly it is.
I will know tomorrow
Mm.
because I have to take a break from movies that I actually care to see and want to see, and I'm going to catch up on January.
Because I know, because really you can classify a movie however you see fit, but it is interesting to me that Coralie doesn't consider the substance horror, which is interesting. I would consider it horror, but I also respect her vision of it. Because
I would say they're a comedy for me.
I was trying to think of the other horror picture nominees, and I know like Silence of the Lambs probably comes to mind,
On there.
and a lot of people would probably call that like suspense and thriller, and it's like whether you consider it that, but like yeah, there's The Sixth Sense. I'm trying to remember what the others. I'm like really intrigued now what the others are.
The Exorcist.
Yeah, oh yeah, of course. Yeah, and like does Jaws count as horror?
I would say so.
I know a lot of people consider it horror. When you actually watch it, it doesn't really feel like a horror movie, but I'm assuming that's one they probably consider for that list.
Before we go into picture, so Brian says a lot actually. So actor missed Daniel Craig over Stan. I guess the international members got him in. Missed Anderson over Erivo, so we didn't get a big snub. Yeah, we got big snubs. It just wasn't that category apparently. I know we don't care about comments. You have no idea how many comments on my nomination prediction are all saying Fernando Torres. Yeah, everybody was seemingly saying that. Director, no shock, Miss Berger over Mangold. I've seen nothing. So Mangold gets overlooked for Ford versus Ferrari, but Giddens for Complete Unknown. Yeah, Ford versus Ferrari is fantastic, especially when you watch it in a full Dolby theater. I recommended it greatly.
Yeah, like I said, if it ever sounds like I'm hating on Mangold versus Ferrari, I'll go all day about how amazing it is.
Phenomenal movie.
And like I said, basically everything else in his filmography, fucking Copland, Girl Interrupted, all that, Identity, even.
Oh yeah.
310 to Yuma.
Oh. So Brian also says for picture, Mr. Real Pain and Sing Sing over Nickel Boys, and without a doubt the most shocking nomination of the day. I'm Still Here. Since the expansion from 2009 and now The Blind Side, A Serious Man, Extremely Loud, Incredibly Close. Some of the posts, women talking, past lives, now Nickel Boys, that's just picture and with one other nomination. And third year in a row, it's just picture and screenplay.
Yeah.
And then we have
to go
pictures.
through the list of 10, just to clarify. We have Anora, The Brutalist, A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Doom Part 2, Amelia Perez, I'm Still Here, Nickel Boys, The Substance, and Wicked. Half of which we still don't know who's producing it, even though they're listed in the credits. But whatever. The horror movie list, if you wanted to know, because a couple of them didn't come to mind. We have Exorcist, Jaws, Silence of the Lambs, which obviously won.
All those.
Sixth Sense, Black Swan, and Get Out.
Yes.
And now we have The Substance.
There was a running joke for a long time on the Oscar Buzz forum, which turned into the Movie Awards forum on IMDb, which then transferred again when IMDb died. There was a guy who was obsessed with having the debate, is Black Swan a horror movie? And that has been a running joke still 15 years later.
God.
Okay, so I'm really upset that A Real Pain isn't here, but can I just say, and there was a while there where I was against expanding to 10 nominees. For a long time, I was very traditional about just having 5. I'm going to be honest, I actually really appreciate when we can be surprised by a picture nominee.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times picture gets pretty predictable, even with 10. And it's like, even if there's one that doesn't get in, there's usually one it's like, oh yeah, if it wasn't that, then it would have been that. When we can get out of nowhere shit like I'm Still Here. And I didn't even really care for the movie, But in retrospect, I appreciate the surprise factor of Nightmare Alley having gotten in 2021. You know, I wasn't crazy about it at the time, but the fact that it feels like it dropped in and surprised us, I actually appreciate in retrospect.
The interesting thing with that I saw, at least with I'm Still Here, is a lot of people were saying it's a very Oscar baity style thing that I think would be more interesting for them to go for rather than, you know, some of the other stuff that maybe missed. You know, it's more some, you know, if anything, it's more of a safe bet for most of the Oscar voters than the substance, just because of how out there it wants to be, things like that. So possibly that is a factor as to why it made it into the 10. So briefly, so apparently the possibility that Marianne Jean-Baptiste missed is because men apparently don't like shady women, because obviously her character is very sort of grey in that film.
Her character is extremely hateable in that movie, but that's what she's supposed to be until the
she's
very
supposed to be unlikable.
I mean, Amelia Perez is a cartel drug lord.
Yeah.
Nothing we can say about Amelia Perez is going to
Yeah, no,
be
that won't change anything.
so.
A lot of people think Craig. The only reason Craig missed is maybe that second half of the film, where it becomes all sort of about let's find a plant. It becomes Wally.
I actually dug that second half, and I dug what Leslie Manville was doing. It's like it even though she's in the opening credits, it took forever to occur to me that it was Leslie Manville.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the fact that after the sex fest that was Poor Things last year, a lot of the sex orientated things like Baby Girl Challenges and Queer got absolutely nothing. It seems they just went all in on Honora to some extent.
Not really. Thankfully, they could have been a lot. They could have given a lot more, and they didn't.
No, but it was the only sort of one that was the sex one. That's what I'm saying. Nothing else that really prioritized sort of bar the hand job scenes.
Part of the Brutalist. Yeah, I'll give you that.
That's sort of really it with that.
Okay. You brought up the sex and Honora. I gotta mention something else.
Oh.
Once again, continue to call it a coincidence, whatever you want.
I definitely won't.
There is a scene in my script where Strawberry is with a virgin. And the way I basically describe it in the directional dialogue is, what is it? He fucks Strawberry like he's drilling for oil. And isn't that basically one of the whole traits of the guy? Was that and she has to tell him that's not the way.
Yep.
Yeah, not saying he, I need to read a Nora script to see if the actual phrase like he's drilling for oil is in there. So remind I know a Nora script is out there and you can look at it. Remind me.
Dude's not that bright, man. Come on. He's Harmony Korine without talent. Come on. Yes.
I mean there was a time where I thought he had I thought he had his own ideas.
No. Tiny Penguin says no.
Man, I went so in on the Florida Project when it came out, guys.
I never saw that movie.
I was his damn cheerleader, like you would not believe. Actually, you can believe it because it's on this fucking channel.
It is. So that being said, Brian has 27 films for his marathon this year, with the bonus being Nosferatu.
Far out.
so I can watch Gladiator 2 and Maria even before the ceremony. Regardless of nomination, we have no frontrunners. No, we really don't.
No.
No matter what people want to tell you, no, we don't.
So yeah, the stats and the facts sort of things. Amelia sets the record for most nominations for a non-English language film at 13, beating out the 10 that Roma and Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon had. Odiar becomes only the third person to be nominated in directing and song, and the first to have it happen in the same year. The other two being Leoma Carey and Spike Jonze from the early days and the not so early days. Perez and I'm Still Here are the 10th and 11th non-English language films to be nominated for International Feature and Best Picture, along with Z, Life is Beautiful, Crouching Tiger, Amour, Roma, Parasite, Drive My Car, All Quiet on the Western Front, and Zone of Interest.
I like a few of those.
And as of note, Parasite's the only one that actually did at least the double, or at least one Best Picture. Anyway, 13 nominations means it's now another one of the joint second nominations, tying Gone with the Wind, From Here to Eternity, Mary Poppins, Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, Forrest Gump, Shakespeare in Love, Fellowship of the Ring, Chicago, Curious Case of Benjamin Button, Shape of Water, and Oppenheimer, of which 7 of them did go on to win Best Picture themselves.
This does not sound right at all.
Also, the fact that Amelia Perez and Wicked made it in makes it the first time 2 musicals have been nominated since Oliver and Funny Girl back in 1968. Yeah, 3 acting nominations for non-English language performances. In 8 of the last 10 years, and at least 1 performance has been nominated in the acting categories. While last year saw the first time that 2 non-English language films were nominated in Best Picture, this is the first that they also made it in international as well. Carla being only the second Spanish actress to be Oscar nominated after Penelope Cruz. France got its 39th nomination with Amelia Perez in terms of the country stuff. First nomination since Les Mis back in 2019. And France has the second most wins, but hasn't won since 1992. So we're talking over 30 years for that. Keeping on the French theme, Farget's nomination for Substance is the 10th nomination ever for a woman, joining Justine Triet from last year. And they're the only women to get nods without the DGA as well. This is also only the second time 2 French directors have been nominated for Best Director in the same year. The other time was Francois Truffaut and Roman Polanski for Day for Night and Chinatown, respectively. Also for the 6th consecutive... Oh, go ahead.
It somehow never even occurred to me we had 2 French directors in this race this whole time.
Yeah. Yeah, for the 6th consecutive year, at least 1 film nominated for Best Picture was directed by a woman. And then for the first time in 47 years, all Best Actress nominees came from Best Picture nominees. Symphony Erivo only being the 5th black actress to get multiple acting nominations, joining Goldberg, Davis, Spencer, and Bassett. I'm Still Here is also the first film since Blindside, and the second since Dangerous Liaison, and third since All That Jazz to get Best Picture without a Globe, a Critics, a PGA, a BAFTA, or any of the 6 major critics groups, like the National Board of Review and LA and New York. So it's really bucking the trend. It's also the first non-English language film to get a Best Picture nomination without writing since Grand Illusion in 1938. We have to go all the way back. First time since '97 that we have a full list of first-time nominees and director. 29 years old, Chalamet is the youngest two-time nominee since James Dean.
Damn.
Prior to that, the only other actor in their 20s to earn 2 nominations was Mickey Rooney. Stan becomes the first person to receive an Oscar nomination for portraying a president currently in office, although that was kind of helped by the nomination delay leading that to happen. Speaking of that man again, Berger joins Lerman as directors that have missed out on Best Director nominations despite 2 movies with 8 nominations at least.
That's my response to you.
And also, only the 3rd time after Elvis and Unquiet on the Western Front and Cleopatra and How the West Was Won that 2 films earned 8 or more nods in the same year without a director nomination. So, you know, it's not just Lerman and Berger. Wicked's the first since Dreamgirls to get 8 nominations without directing or writing.
I was waiting for the Dreamgirls statistic to come up.
Also the first since Poseidon Adventure in '72 to earn more than 8 without directing or writing nods. And the first to reach 10 nominations without either. Yura Borisov, the first Russian actor nominated since Lila Kadrova in Zorba the Greek from the 60s. Andy Nelson, sound mixer on Wicked, has got 25 nominations now. Meaning he's only just behind John Williams on 54. For most nominations for a living person. As you mentioned earlier, Flo joins Walter Bashir and Flea. And, for getting in for international feature as an animated film, and then also joining Flea for animated and international. Also, Chris Sanders ties the record for most nominations for animated feature with his 4th nomination, tying with Pete Docter and Hayao Miyazaki for, I want to say that's Wild Robot? Yeah. Eric Niari's only the 5th individual to be nominated for both documentary and documentary short for Black Box Diaries and Instruments of a Beating Heart in the same year. The last person to do that was Charles Guggenheim in '94. And there's your interesting facts and figures. In terms of the rundown of the full numbers, Amelia leads with 13, as we mentioned. Brutalist and Wicked both have 10. A Complete Unknown and Conclave with 8. Anora with 6. Doom Part 2 and Substance with 5. And Nosferatu with 4. I'll cut it off there, even though you have got the, Best Picture nominated I'm Still Here at 3, and Nickel Boys at 2 as well. That's the stats and the facts and stuff.
Is that our finish?
Yeah. No
Is that
doubt
the number?
No doubt they'll probably show a video package regarding the Governor's Awards from November, but I just noticed that the honorary and the memorial and the humanitarian awards went to Quincy Jones posthumously, Juliet Taylor for casting, which I'm guessing they're doing that ahead of when casting debuts as a category in 12 months' time. Barbara Broccoli and Michael G. Wilson, possibly for saying Amazon doesn't know what the fuck they're doing, allegedly. And that interesting quote. And Richard Curtis getting an Oscar for his charitable stuff. I'm surprised considering how hands-on he's been with comic relief. Why has it taken 40 years?
It was a very amusing presentation by Hugh Grant as well.
Makes sense. Oh, and something I also want to mention, even though I'll bring it up again in a few weeks. Warwick Davis is getting the BAFTA Fellowship in a few weeks.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Please, especially because it was just announced on like the One Show, which is just some chat show. I was like, okay, where's the press release about this? And it was like, no, there is no press release. It's just a One Show exclusive. And then only sort of the next day they put the press release out. I was like, what weird timing, you idiots. But also, I don't care. Warwick Davis is getting a BAFTA Fellowship. Hell yeah. So yeah, that is us wrapped up for January. As we roll into the craziness of February, and us every week for 5 or 6 weeks, pretty much. So yeah, next time we should be here doing coverage will be our guild predictions at some point in about a week's and a half's time, start of February ish. Date to be determined.
All right. So, thanks everyone for joining us tonight, whether live or in archive. Not much in the chat tonight, but we appreciate you out checking it out tonight. And for the ones that are watching us in archive, like Ashley mentioned in his video when he did reactions live, mind you, this was on the channel, not just a video that was filmed. It was actually live. He was using exactly what we used to do these shows. If you have any thoughts that you didn't leave in chat, feel free to leave them below this video or any of the other reaction videos. AJ's is up right now. Ashley's is up. I don't know, honestly, when mine will go up, but hopefully soon. That's what we're shooting for. And like Ashley said, we'll be back with our guild predictions next. And then after that, we pretty much, like you mentioned before, we're just going to have constant videos, at least 2 a week. So getting you all the way through the actual Oscar ceremony. Being said, Ashley can be found on X at Ash is my name UK, and also can be providing more gaming content, snack stashes, all that stuff's coming in the near future. AJ's movie reviews are returned sooner rather than later. And if you like segments that were in 2024, they'll be back in 2025, one way, shape, or form. Cannot be found on social media, of course, but I can be found on social media at Sir Owen Disney, and that's going to be your show for today. Thanks, everyone, watching tonight, whether live or in archive. And go check out the Best Picture Showcase if you're able to. It's paying a flat price to be able to watch all or nearly all of your Best Picture nominees, unless it's AMC and you have to go try on Amelia Perez because it only plays Gold Cinemark. But I do know for a fact both Mark and you're both Amelia Perez, so I can guarantee that's happening for their film showcases when it comes to Best Picture. And I'm Still Here is officially going to be in my Cineplex at the beginning of February, so I'll be able to check that out finally. So, as always, I thanks everyone for watching, and thanks for tuning in tonight, whether live or in archive. In the meantime, I want to thank you guys and girls out there for watching. Always remember to have the best day ever. Check out a movie no matter what it may be. And until next time, boys and girls, that's all we got to say about that.